Now, I'm speaking as a fan who started getting into this sport roughly around the end of the COVID era, and I gotta say, I'm already missing the past, alright? Now, don't get me wrong, current fights are really fun to watch, but for the most part, I'm really starting to miss some certain guys just being at the top of the sport, or better yet, even being a champion, because I had a lot of fun watching these guys try to make it to the top, or even get to the top before ultimately, coming short. So today we're going to be talking about 5 different eras over the last couple of years across all the weight classes in the UFC that I really miss. I really want it back. Do I think it's going to come back? Probably not, but, it's good to reminisce for cope's sake. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. Alright, so first off, we're going to talk about the Olive era. I'm going to say it right now. Back when Charles Oliveira was the champion of the lightweight division, I could argue that was the division's peak, right? Because every time Oliveira fought, it was the most inspirational, the most fun, and the most wild storylines you can ever come up with. But then he fought Islam Makhachev and then ultimately lost. Now, I'm not saying that Islam Makhachev was a bad champion. If anything, he made a lot of history in the lightweight division, and he put on some fucking bangers for us. But when Islam Makhachev won, it was just like, oh, he's too good. Right? Whereas Oliveira, it was like, oh my gosh, he did it. He overcame the odds. I felt like I could relate to Oliveira, winning the belt. Whereas Islam Makhachev is like, oh, he's too good. This has nothing necessary to do with their skill levels. All right? And I'm just waiting for the return of Charles Oliveira at this point. All right? I want to see this guy get back to the belt one more time. All right? Do I think he's going to get there? Probably not. But I don't know, maybe Arma beats Topuria, and then we can run this rematch back, all right? But either way, I want to see Oliveira get back to the lightweight belt. Please, Charles Oliveira, get back to the lightweight belt at least, all right? I want to see this guy just put a smile on my face one more time and just go out there and just bring back the prime Charles Oliveira of old, because I can't handle another Charles Oliveira loss, especially if it's going to be getting flatlined by Ilia Topuria.
Moicano, I'm the best lightweight in the world. I lost to Jose Aldo on the featherweight, but right now I can't afford to lose because I have a family to feed, I have dreams to fulfill, and I'm not gonna stop until I have the belt.
That was when Renato Moicano was actually really fun to watch, because he put on a lot of bangers, he put on a hell of a win streak, and he had some great post-fight interviews that got the crowd riled up, right? That was all good until he fought Islam Makhachev. And sure, you could say, oh, Islam Makhachev's the greatest fighter of all time, all right? I'll give you that. That didn't necessarily kill his stock. So the UFC was like, all right, fair enough. We'll give you Beneil Dariush. Then he lost to old man Beneil Dariush. And I think that's when you know that you're completely cooked, if you're losing to Beneil Dariush in the year of 2025. Because Beneil Dariush's chin is completely gone. And Renato Moicano has not fought since. Right? So I don't know who Renato Moicano can even beat. And it's kind of sad, because when Renato Moicano was on that crazy win streak against Jalen Turner, Benoit Saint-Denis, Drew Dober, people were arguing, Moicano could arguably be a top 5 contender. But then after he lost to Beneil Dariush, it's just who does Moicano even beat in the current rankings? Right? And who does Moicano even beat just outside the rankings? You can't really tell me at this point. It's crazy to say that after 1 year apart, but that 1 year really changed the stock of Renato Moicano. And I just wish Renato Moicano could win one more time for the memes, and so that he could say, I cannot afford to lose. Guys, remember when Shavkat Rakhmonov was an active fighter? I know, crazy, especially now considering all of the injuries that Shavkat Rakhmonov has sustained. But back in the day, this guy actually fought twice a year. All right. Now, you wouldn't say that fighting twice a year is all that active, but trust me, for a Shavkat Rakhmonov fan, it is. And he would put on banger after banger every 6 to 9 months. But nowadays, he's injured 24/7. Ian Gary's gloating about injuring Shavkat Rakhmonov rather than beating him in a fight. Now, Ian Gary's going to be fighting for a title shot before Shavkat Rakhmonov simply because he cannot heal his knees. And it's just never going to be the same. I think it's completely over. So I just wish Shavkat Rakhmonov can come back. Maybe not exactly the full health, but somewhat the old Shavkat Rakhmonov. And I hope that I could see him fight twice a year one last time. Guys, remember when Michel Pereira wasn't an absolute bum? Right? Because I remember. Now, fair enough, he was fighting absolute schmucks. But the way he was styling on these schmucks, especially at middleweight, I was like, holy shit, this guy is a monster. He might even make it to the top 5. But then he fought Anthony Hernandez, and let's just say, I think that fight changed him for the worse, right? Because he has not won a fight ever since, and even when he's winning rounds, he looks complete dog shit. I'm sorry, what happened to Michel Pereira, the guy who used to backflip on Ior Potieria, the guy who threw one body kick and down goes Michel Olasechuk? What happened to prime Michel Pereira? I don't know, but it seems like Fluffy Hernandez literally stole all of this guy's hype along with his aura, and he's just not been looking the same since because he has not won a fight. He has not won a fight, and he has not looked good ever since 2024. Last but not least, I really want to talk about Dricus du Plessis by Falling Piano. Back when DDP was actually the champion, middleweight was such a fun division to watch, right? And DDP especially, it just wasn't the fights that were fun themselves. It was also the press conferences. I mean, the guy made 2 separate grown men cry on stage, which is generational to see. And also the fact that DDP was very witty. And had he beat Chimaev, he would have been challenging for GOAT status of the middleweight division. And I was really rooting for him to challenge for GOAT status in the middleweight division. But now Khamzat Chimaev is the champion. All right. Now, I don't know how to feel about Chimaev being the champion. I certainly didn't like the way that he won the belt. All right. I think anyone can agree with that, unless you're Kenny Okoye and MMA Joey. But hopefully Chimaev can really carry the slack because it's just such an apparent hole now that DDP is not the champion, because we would have already heard news about a potential title fight in the middleweight division if DDP was still here. Right, but now, unfortunately, Khamzat Chimaev's still here. I don't know when he's going to fight. Hopefully, he fights by May or June or July. I don't know when exactly. Hopefully, it's by then. And otherwise, though, this division's going to be completely dead. When it had so much hype while DDP was the active champion of the middleweight division. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe so we can monetize this channel. But otherwise, leave any comments down below for video suggestions you have for me. And outside of that, I will see you guys next time. Peace.